When we think of ancient gods, we often picture stern, unyielding figures, remote and terrible, ruling from mountaintops or stormy seas. But in the lands of ancient Mesoamerica, long before cities were made of steel, the people looked to the skies. Have you heard about Quetzalcoatl? Half bird, half serpent, entirely divine. In the ancient Nahuatl language, Quetzalcoatl means feathered serpent. Some say it refers to his iridescent, otherworldly beauty. Others, to the way his robes rippled like wind-blown feathers or snakeskin. All cultures have creation of myths, stories that explain where life came from, how the world began. And at one of the stories is the Quetzalcoatl, the main character. He boasts that only he can create life and refuses to share his power. And so the gods take away his gifts, leaving him mortal. Humiliated and desperate, he makes a blood vow to get his gifts back. He will create a new race of men and make himself their ruler. The gods accept his promise and restore his powers. But this new race of men proves unruly. They fight and Quetzalcoatl grows tired of their squabbling. In some versions of the myth, he drowns them. In others, he banishes them to the Underworld. And once again, he is left alone, restoring balance to the world. Many Mesoamerican myths tell of a watery underworld from which the first humans emerged, blind and without direction. Then Quetzalcoatl appeared. Some myths say he emerged from a giant eagle, others that he hatched from an egg floating on the water. But however he came to be, he took the first humans under his wing, teaching them what they needed to know, showing them how to survive, how to thrive. He was a father to the Aztecs, the Toltecs, the Maya, and countless other tribes. But no written record survives from pre-Hispanic America. But their art, their architecture, their myths, and their legends survived. So we piece together these myths from artwork and architecture, the feathered serpent god who came from the sky and promised to return. Maybe he's still watching, waiting for a world that remembers wisdom over war. And in the 1800s, as people rediscovered these ancient cultures, some wanted to revive what they saw as a lost religion, but Quetzalcoatl was never a god to be worshipped. He was a force of nature to be respected, a reminder to seek knowledge and use power wisely, to be humble even when you're a god. His students sometimes forgot their lessons. His creations didn't always behave. And so he left, sailing east, across the sea, on a raft made of snakes or fire or stars, depending on who tells the tale. But he made a promise. One day, he would return. To the Aztecs, he was the god of wisdom and the wind. It took the Aztecs 200 years to realize their feathered serpent god wasn't coming back at all. To the Maya, he was the morning star, ushering in the light after the darkness of night. To the Toltecs, he was the creator, the one who taught them the arts of civilization. He gave them knowledge, taught them how to write, how to farm, how to build. He brought the first rains after long droughts. And when the rains came, he taught them how to read the sky so they could plant their crops in time. He was the god of wind, yes, but also the god of the merchants who traveled by canoe on the treacherous inland seas. When a storm threatened to capsize their boats, they prayed to Quetzalcoatl for safe passage. He was the god of the air, yes, but also of the breath of life, to the stars, to the wind. And in the wind, they whispered a name, Quetzalcoatl. He had a human heart, it says, and he walked among humans, sharing their joys and sorrows. Sometimes he tested them too, appearing in disguise to see if they remembered the lessons he taught them. Sometimes he played pranks too, sending a sudden hailstorm to ruin an enemy's army, or turning a king's crown into a pumpkin while he slept. He was a trickster, a teacher, a friend. He was one of us. He wasn't just a god, he was a creator, a bringer of life, and a mystery wrapped in feathers and scales. And from the ruins of great cities like Teotihuacan, Ozmol, and Chichen Itza, we learned that Quetzalcoatl was many things. It's hard to imagine a culture hero who walks among humans, a teacher, a guide. Yet that's how Quetzalcoatl is described in many myths. But he was also entirely divine. But he wasn't perfect. Not all myths are feel-good tales. In some stories, Quetzalcoatl is vain and selfish. So yes, the Aztecs called him their creator, but he was a flawed creator. That prophecy haunted the Aztecs for centuries, because when white-skinned strangers arrived from the ocean in the 1500s, some believed Quetzalcoatl had come back. But Quetzalcoatl was not a conqueror. He was a creator, a bringer of balance, a reminder that knowledge and power must be used with care. Maybe that's why, even today, you can see him on temple walls. And in the stars, in the wind that suddenly shifts, the feathered serpent god who came from the sky and promised to return. Maybe he's still watching, waiting for a world that remembers wisdom over war. And that's all for today. If you liked the video, comment, like, subscribe, and tell your friends to watch the next episode of Whispers of Myth.